Santa Claus the Movie is a 1985 released fantasy adventure directed by John Lithgow.
It charts the origin of Santa Claus from hundreds of years ago, his humble beginnings as a gift-giving woodcutter who was rescued from a blizzard by some elves and given the gift of immortality and the job of being Father Christmas. And it charts this right up to the present day, or the present day of 1985 anyway, in which Dudley Moore plays an elf called Patch, who's getting a bit restless. He wants to try and prove himself to Santa Claus. He gets a bit over-enthusiastic, and unfortunately means the toys he makes are of a bit of a poor quality, which damages Santa's reputation, and we can't have that. So in sort of shame, and he goes off to New York, as you do, and to sort of try and prove himself. But he ends up working with a sort of unscrupulous, dastardly toy manufacturer by the name of BZ, played by John Lithgow. This guy only cares about profit and not about the toys.
Or the children.
Or the children.
No,
or anyone.
Anyone but himself.
Yes.
Yeah, corrupt as they come. Yes, so Santa Claus the Movie. Well, it's Christmas Eve.
It is, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yo, 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 ho, ho, and all that kind of yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay, Merry Christmas.
Indeed, yeah. So Santa Claus the Movie. I wanted to do this one kind of every Christmas, I think, since we've started the channel. Yeah. I haven't seen this for years and years and years, though, and I think I suggested it, and you were like, isn't that the one where John Lithgow puts on the funny accent? And I was
he doesn't, it's his teeth, that's what I was thinking of. He's got weird teeth.
Right, yeah. But I mean, this was a firm favourite of mine as a child, but I hadn't seen it for quite a long time, actually, and it shows.
Oh dear.
So I think when I was younger, I really enjoyed the whole film.
Yeah.
Now as an adult, I really enjoyed the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just goes, it's like, it's got a really nice, the whole beginning sequence with, basically telling the story of Santa Claus and how these, this old man and woman, they give out toys. I don't know exactly when it's supposed to be set. It charts the kind of the early beginnings of Father Christmas and Santa Claus and and Mrs. Claus. They get trapped in a snowstorm, and then these elves appear like angels in a way. To save them and to give them this gift, and then introducing them to the elves and the toy shop and these incredible sets that they've built.
Yeah.
That stuff. Sorry,
I would have to ask where they get all the wood from. It's the North Pole. There's nothing there.
No.
There's a lot. Everything's made of wood.
Everything. Yeah.
Where are you getting this wood?
There is a lot of wood. Yeah, this is true.
And, if you drop a match, that's it. It's all gone.
Oh. Yeah, this is very true.
But, I'm picking holes.
Already. Yeah, but no, I think, that stuff is really magical, and I really like that. When it comes to, when it kind of stops in 1985 in the 20th century, it's just like...
It kind of loses its way, doesn't it?
Quite.
I saw it in the cinema. I remember going and really enjoying it. Yeah, I hadn't seen it. I don't know. It was obviously. I don't think we ever had it on video or anything like that. So I don't think I'd seen it since I was a kid. When I saw it again a few years ago, I tried to introduce my kids to it. Oh, I love this when I was a kid, and they were just like completely nonplussed by it. So not enough explosions for their liking. Films just aren't as weren't as quick paced as they are these days. They struggle to keep the attention of today's kids, in my experience anyway. And even I was like, this isn't what I remember. It's a classic 80s thing where the villain is like greed and
it's
corporate.
Very cliche,
it's like every 80s bad guy was some horrible corporate guy.
It's very simple, because it's very much like the East against the West here. The East being the kind of the Santa Claus where he's grown up in Lapland, and it's filmed in Norway and it's kind of the North Pole and everything. Against that kind of the modern consumerism of the West. But yeah, the whole story set in when they get to New York is all kind of, it's just, even the whole, so you meet these two children, Joe and Cornelia. He of course is living on the streets, and she's living in a posh house, happens to be related to BZ, as you find out later. No spoilers. I don't think that's a spoiler. You've probably all seen it. But then it's this kind of weird relationship that the two of them have, in that she she starts. There's one very funny scene actually, which made me kind of laugh out loud, which is where she. So one year she offers him some like a Coke and some food, puts it on the doorstep, and he scurries over and
Bit of product placement.
Bit of product placement with a Coca-Cola there, yeah. And then like I think the next Christmas, or maybe it's later that night, I don't know, don't remember. But she's like, she's come in. There's a spare room in the basement. You can have that because he's got a cold, isn't he? Or he's got a flu or something. You can have that till you're better. And it's like, right, then what? You're going to throw him back out onto the streets again? I just, it's just, I don't know. It's this very, it's just an odd story when you get into the modern, into 1985.
And also Santa's very, very willing to just reveal, himself to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, normally Santa's quite a secretive guy.
Very
he sneaks around where people are asleep.
He does sneak around. I mean, so I think, I don't think this film is terrible at all. It's very of its time. It's an 80s film all over. Yeah. It's a perfectly serviceable Santa Claus movie, I think. And I do think that the first half of it is the most enjoyable part of it.
Yeah.
And it's got a great. I mean, it's great. So all the elves in this are British. I think all of them are Brits.
For the most part.
I mean, there's quite a number of famous names in there alongside Dudley Moore. You've got people like Melvin Hayes, who's kind of turned up in a lot of British films and British TV over the years. Christopher Ryan
from the young ones,
and then Bottom later on. Although he doesn't say anything in this film.
No, he hasn't got any lines. Has he?
He's in it a lot, but he has no lines. And then Burgess Meredith turns up. He's like this kind of
ancient elf.
Yeah, he just has a massive beard, and I mean, I think all that stuff in Santa's workshop, grotto, whatever you want to call it, it looks great.
Yes.
It's really nicely shot. Like I said, there's incredible sets, very colourful. If they maybe could have turned that into more of a longer film, I think it would have been really interesting. But they have to tack on this kind of
weird New York stuff.
New York stuff.
I mean, there's some great animatronic reindeer as well.
Oh yeah, they're
which
great.
are really well done. And there's they use real reindeer as well, which all pretty well trained. They look really good. So I mean, I think it had a $50 million budget, which is quite high.
Yeah.
And it does that, particularly for Santa's Workshop. It does show on screen.
Definitely.
That a lot of work went into making that. But yeah, it made barely half that at the box office, unfortunately.
I mean, it's strange because it has a love for the story of Santa Claus. I grew up. I mean, my mum used to read to me and my brothers the night. "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," which is the famous poem story about Santa Claus, and that's in here. I mean, Rudolph's not in this. Rudolph was a later addition.
Yeah, my youngest was watching it with me. And he said, when's Rudolph going to show up? But I was like, I don't think he's in it. But because he's not like an official reindeer, he's like made up for stories. Yeah. I guess every time they use Rudolph, maybe they have to pay royalties to somebody.
Maybe, I don't know. But he's not here, so you've got the original, all of the Prancer and Dancer and
Comet and Donner and Blitzen and the others.
Yeah.
Whatever they're called.
Yeah. So, but that's really nice. And then of course they do the he had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly, which of course they then play on the fact that he's been eating all the cookies. So his wife then puts him on like a carrot and potato diet instead. So I think all that stuff is really great, and they have fun with the the origins and the story of Santa Claus, which is really nice, and I think that still works. I just, chucking in John Lithgow, I guess that was, I don't know. I mean, because it's interesting, because the writers, David and Larry Newman, both wrote Superman.
Yeah. I mean, it has a lot of connections to Superman, because Juno Swark directed Supergirl, and the producers, Ilya and Alexander Salkin, they produced Superman for the Superman movies.
Okay.
So, and even the sort of flying sections in New
all
York,
the effects. Yeah.
It feels very reminiscent of the Superman movies where he's flying around New York. I mean, whether they used footage they already had for Superman, I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me, but
I read on the on IMDb about where it was filmed, because when I was watching it, I was like, is this filmed in New York, or have they used? I'm not talking about the flying scenes. I'm talking about the actual film itself, because I thought it felt a bit, I think Pinewood.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of it was filmed at Pinewood.
Yeah, so they did. I mean, a lot of it was filmed in Pinewood. Most of it was filmed in Pinewood. Some of it was filmed in Norway. Whether that was kind of the early scenes out in the country, although that felt like a set as well.
I think a lot, some of the snow where they're trapped in the blizzard, that's on a set, yeah.
Yeah. But then they used a lot of backplate work, which is New York, so that could well have maybe, I don't know, come from...
Or if they didn't, they obviously knew people that could shoot, great flying shots of New York.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I mean, that, and again, that stuff looks great. Not Superman, Santa Claus flying across New York.
I mean, it's a bit dated, but it's a bit dated, but it's time and it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine for what they do. And there's this great this thing that he does where they try to get them to do this big super loop in the sky, and they kind of race get the reindeer to gallop faster and faster and faster and go up in this big loop, and it's ropey.
It doesn't really make any sense when they use that, but it's
when they actually use it, it's like,
why did you need to do that?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, no. Anyway, on that.
And we haven't really spoken about Dudley Moore, have we? I mean, he gets top billing, much like Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman got billed above Christopher Reeve in Superman. Dudley Moore gets billed above David Huddleston.
Yeah.
Because he was a bigger name, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the film kind of starts off as a kind of it's Santa Claus' story, but then it very quickly becomes Dudley Moore's story, and he's the one that kind of goes off. It's a little bit like Elf, Will Ferrell. He goes off to New York again. Although I think Elf does that story better.
Yeah.
Dudley Moore was obviously very popular around this time. He was making a lot of Arthur and
10
and other films in the 80s. He turned up in a lot of films in the 80s, and he's a great watch. I mean, because of course it was Peter Cook who was in Supergirl, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Squirt?
Huh?
It's one of his lines.
I haven't seen that film for years and years.
That's the only thing I can remember about it.
Is Peter O'Toole in there as well?
Yes. Perhaps it's Peter O'Toole that says squirt. I can't remember.
Okay.
Perhaps it's Peter O'Toole.
Right.
I think it is. Yeah, no, because Peter Cook is like the henchman, isn't he, to the baddie, I think.
Right.
And Peter O'Toole is...
Okay, well, back to Santa Claus flying through New York instead of Superman flying through New York. So, yeah, I think we probably both similar feelings on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think I enjoyed it more the last watch than when I watched it, 2 or 3 years ago when I tried to watch it with the kids and they weren't bothered. I think mainly, I appreciated the sort of effort that had gone into the sets and everyone in the cast is great. David Huddleston makes a great Santa. He's really got the ho down.
Yeah, and he looks great.
Yeah.
I
mean, he's probably, I don't know, he's been in lots of stuff, but he was the Big Lebowski in the Big Lebowski.
Oh, of course he was. Yeah.
Yeah, loads of other roles, and it's always nice to watch Judy Cornwell, who is Mrs. Claus, who in the UK. Best known for playing Daisy in Keeping Up Appearances. A bit more refined in Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I mean, even John Lithgow. I mean, it is a bit scenery chewing.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what they were doing with his teeth. He didn't really need that, did he? But
I mean, when he's there, he's great. And there is a scene when Patch, Dudley Moore's character, first. So he comes into his office, and it's typical. He's like dripping with wealth, isn't he? And he's got big old fur coat and chewing on a cigar, and he walks into his office, and the chair's over there in the corner, and as he walks up to his desk, the chair swings around, and Dudley Moore Patch is there, and that whole scene is really good because they're great together, and they are kind of he really is chewing the scenery quite literally with those teeth, but it's a great scene where those two introduce themselves to each other, and he realizes he's not quite sure what's going on because Patch is like flashing around the place, and then of course he doesn't. It's weird because you never feel like he actually believes who he is, but as soon as he sees dollar signs, that's it. So there's some really great moments in there between. It's a great cast. It's got some nice moments in there. It's not perfect, a lot of it's a bit throwaway, but it's nostalgic.
The first half is definitely the better half.
Yeah,
I think,
definitely.
Yeah.
So you have this on Blu-ray?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I picked it up a few years ago to watch with the kids. I mean, it's almost like I think that the whole Elf Workshop, it almost looks like a musical. I mean, you did it on the back. They've got a picture of them dancing.
Well, there are scenes of them dancing, isn't there?
It's almost like it's missing some songs.
Well, I was reading on the trivia section of IMDb, and apparently this was originally announced in 1978,
right?
And it was going to have Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
So when any of that came over from who knows? Because there are certainly scenes in there of them. There are musical numbers of them doing dance, but there's none of that in the rest of the film.
No.
It's only a couple of times.
I mean, I'm not much of a musical fan, so I can't say I'm particularly fussed about it not having songs. It's
No,
fine by me.
no.
But it almost has the feel that it potentially could have had some song and dance numbers
I
in
think
there.
I think that's what I was saying when it feels like there were two films going on here, because you've got all the stuff in the North Pole and singing and dancing, but then all the stuff in New York is completely different. I mean, that kind of helps to make it two different worlds, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which they kind of do in Elf as well, don't they? I mean, the two different worlds are very different. But yeah, so I don't know. I thought it was quite interesting anyway. I read that.
And we haven't talked about the music, actually. I thought the music was quite good by Henry Mancini.
Has got some very nice music in
and there's
there.
a song over the end sung by Sheena Easton, which apparently was written for Queen. They were approached to do the soundtrack, but they were I think they'd already committed to Highlander, or they'd already done Flash Gordon. I think they were like, just enough films, done too many films, so they turned it down.
Right, okay.
But yeah, so Sheena Easton ended up singing that, and I think Swark asked Paul McCartnney to write some stuff for it as well, but it never panned out. So yeah, but yeah, there's the Blu-ray. It's got a quite good behind the scenes thing. It's like sort of 50 odd minutes long, and it does actually delve quite deep into it. They show showing making the animatronic reindeer and going to train the reindeer. The real ones, obviously, and it's all presented by Dudley Moore as if they're making a movie about the real Santa Claus. So Santa Claus is playing himself,
right?
As such.
Okay.
So, which obviously he's a real person, so of course he would.
Of course.
So yeah, no, it was actually a lot more in depth and interesting than I was expecting it to be. I thought it might be just some sort of one of these normal puff pieces.
Yeah.
With lots of clips from the movie, but no, there was loads of behind the scenes stuff. So it was interesting stuff. And then there's behind the scenes of the press conference, sort of B-roll footage of that, and some deleted scenes as well. So
it's quite a nice little package there.
yeah, I mean the only thing that's missing, there was a commentary on the DVD back in the day, so that's gone walkies. But apart from that, I mean, it's picture quality is fine. I don't think it's the sort of film that's ever going to get any sort of 4K restoration or anything like that. But it's perfectly serviceable. So not hard to find. I mean, I don't think I've seen it on the TV much around Christmas time. I mean, Elf always gets shown, and Scrooged, and all the usual suspects, and Home Alone and stuff like that. But no, they don't tend to show this. That I've noticed anyway, so yeah.
So that was Santa Claus the movie, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, let us know in the comments below, and a Merry Christmas.
Hit the subscribe button up there, and don't forget to push the bell for notifications. There's other videos to check out over there. Come and find us on social media, and have a Merry Christmas, and join us again soon for another video.